I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm looking on YouTube and it's acting like
it says you're live on my
Oh, now
side.
we are.
Yay!
I was like, what the hell's going on the YouTube side? That was weird. There we go. I need to fucking flip around the boxes. Oh, this is a goddamn mess.
Well, for anybody that's watching, Carter is not here. He is a Force Ghost.
A Force goes to Target.
Yes, a Force Ghost to Target. He will be missed.
I like how we're acting like he died off screen.
remember.
Oh no.
That's cold.
Oh my god. But anyway, again, just normal introduction stuff. Like, who are you? Where can we find you? We don't even need to add like an icebreaker question because I feel like we all pretty much are familiar with each other. Starting with Chris.
I am Chris, aka Mufasa, aka Star Wars lawyer. You can find me on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok at Star Wars lawyer, and on Twitter at Chris KRIS_SWL.
Nice. Again, same to you, Cal.
Hello, I am Cal. Cal for on pretty much everything, but primarily on Twitch, Thursdays through Sundays at around 7 to 9 Central Standard Time. But yeah, do a lot of fun games, huge Star Wars nerd. Kind of just bounce between a variety of stuff though.
Yeah. Again, you're just like streaming like the weirdest times of night, or just like, oh, and Cal is live.
It's not the weirdest time for me. It's usually after work.
Yeah.
This is true.
And since Carter isn't here, I guess I'll go to Luke as well, since I feel like this is kind of necessary.
Not everybody wants to know about Luke.
Yeah, I know. I am the second host. I am the replacer. But you guys can follow me at the Pod Ones Podcast on TikTok, Pod Ones Pod on Instagram, at Pod Ones Podcast on Twitter. Every Thursday night, we are still chugging along through our Clone Wars rewatch. And yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm obviously helping out here.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how to segue into this because again, when it comes to Fallen Star, it's a fucking lot.
Yeah, it's a heavy book.
Fallen Star, Fallen Hopes and Dreams.
Emotional damage. The Fallen Star support group is here to help.
Emotional damage is literally the best way to describe this.
Yeah.
Book. Claudia Gray was like, "Oh, you like all these characters? They're dead."
Yeah. Yep, pretty much.
It was funny for me. There's a lot of moments where a chapter before some characters passed that I would send out messages to friends being like, "Oh my god, I'm really loving this character in this book so far."
Yes.
And then immediately they're ripped from you and I'm like, oh
Cal, I think
it hurts.
Honestly, I think I have a couple of these.
Yeah, I think so. I think you were one of the people that I sent them to.
Yes. I was like, hold on. I've got to find it. It is so funny. Hold on.
I had one thought throughout this book.
Ouch.
There was one question on my mind. Where is Ty Yorick?
Yeah.
True.
I
I had one thought on my mind, and that was just, ow. The whole
That was legitimately what I did. After I finished around 3 in the morning, right? I went, I think it was Element, Chaco, and someone else in the group chat, and all I said was, "Ow."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure in my server we whenever somebody finished the book, we'd go into we made an extra VC called a Fallen Star support group, and we would just talk, and literally the most honestly, I think the best reaction was Malik. By far.
Malik was
he
destroyed.
was crushed.
Dude, Malik is just already a hyper animated person.
Oh yeah.
So like every emotion's to the nth degree, and it's just always a blast and a half to watch Malik react to anything, especially when it's something that you can share the pain and like, oh god.
Well, yeah, he's like, he like came in and he was really down. It was the opposite. Like he's like, guys, I don't think I'm okay, and I was like, oh god, this is you. That's when you know a book has hit you hard. Is when you like honestly, when I read this book, I was like, okay, so I know it's gonna hurt like a bitch, but like I didn't expect it to hurt like that much, and like. I still don't have answers for my boy. I still don't have answers.
Oh,
I as soon as just jumping into spoiler territory here already, but as soon as Orla died, I was just like, all right, Malik's not gonna do well here.
Yeah, I know.
That day that I got to that point, I'll actually let me pull it up here. Well, it's gonna be forever ago in the chat, but I sent a message to Pep specifically, and I was like, dude, I'm starting to really love like Orla Jareni. Like they're one of my favorite characters now. And literally like 10 minutes later, just messaging me going, no! Like, an entire paragraph. And I was like, oh my god, what the no! Like, why and how?
So I have a similar story to the same effect with Element 7. We were at, what chapter were we at? I don't remember in the book, but he basically accidentally spoiled something, and me and Carter didn't catch on to it, and then later he's like, yeah, I totally messed up with spoiler. I think it was like Orla Generator or like someone else. No, I think it was Nib, but he screwed up on. It was like, oh, this character dies.
I mean, to be fair, they were a character that I was kind of unfortunately apathetic about. It didn't really hit me that hard. It was kind of just a whatever death for me. But Orla's was the one that like first hit me. I'm like, nope, I know what this is spelling for the rest of the book, and I'm not okay with it.
No, yeah.
Because like there's certain characters you feel that are like safe and can't be touched. And Orla was one of those characters, and as soon as they go, I'm like,
nope. Everything's off the table there.
Yep. That's the ride we're on, apparently.
I wanted Orla to go like do more things. Like I wanted an Orla Ty team up at some point.
Right?
Oh,
that would have just been so much fun. And I knew going into the book. So did y'all watch the Justice League cartoon that came out in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So you remember when the Thanagarian invasion happened?
Yes.
And Batman's on the watchtower and he's guiding it down.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's going to happen in the book. I thought it was going to be Avar.
Oh yeah.
Because I was just like, it was her station. Like that's gonna happen. But then when she's not in most of the book, I'm like, it's not gonna be Avar.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought the same thing, because especially with the title Fallen Star, it still fits, but it's a different star that I was expecting, and now I'm sad again.
Yeah, because I remember before the book, I think I said it on They Fly Now, I'm like, this title has a double meaning. Carter's like, no, it's the Star Fault. I'm like, no, there's a double meaning to this title. Someone's gonna die.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in the first part, like from even before Orla dies, like how the Nihil are able to like infiltrate Starlight Beacon is absolutely insane.
And can we also just talk about levelers for a second?
Oh my
God.
Levelers.
Yeah, levelers,
plural.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
I mean, honestly, there's always been a part of me that was like, I really kind of want a horror book set in Star Wars. But I was like, I don't know how they could do that with Jedi and actually like make it work.
Yeah, absolutely, it worked.
There was legitimately moments when I was at work that I had to stop listening to the audiobook and pace.
Yeah.
My boss is like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, don't even. We're getting to an intense part. I need to walk.
No, you're absolutely right, Cal. Like, and honestly, like, it's funny. because they, along with the Leveler, they brought in the Rathtars, which are a
Mhm.
sequel-based animal. That's the first ever time that we get to see Rathtars besides the Darth Maul comic not single shot, but he had a run where he fought Rathtars. But like that was intense. Like
The best part about that too is they built it up
yes.
like, oh, it's not actually Rathtars because they were just using that as a front for the levelers, but it's like, oh no, there's still also Rathtars.
Yeah.
Like, oh god damn it.
That's such a great subversion.
I was like, at least let that shit be empty. And
Yeah.
then maybe the situation will be like somewhat survivable, but then when it's like,
Yeah.
no, there's like 6 Rathtar, you're like, oh, what the hell?
Well, think about this though as well. Like if just think about if the levelers were like we don't know what happens to the levelers as of yet, but
Mhm.
think about this: if Palpatine was able to use the levelers.
Oh my god.
But I don't think he could have.
It depends.
Well, because remember, it's bringing out
You'd
the
think they'd
worst
fit.
aspects of you. And if you think about Palpatine was always in control. So imagine Palpatine just not literally having any control and just letting loose at all times.
I feel like he wouldn't be nearly as effective.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Unless it has a different effect to dark side users, because from what I understand, well, we haven't seen any dark side users go up against a leveler yet, so we don't really know what the effects are. But we have seen it on Jedi and light side users. It brings out the worst and it brings out their nightmares. Whereas if you're a dark side user, you are already entrenched in the dark side, where it's like maybe that would be the way that they could use that. But here's the other thing: maybe that's what Palpatine used is there's a leveler as well as the Sith shrine under the Jedi Temple. Maybe there's a leveler there that is blocking the senses of the Jedi.
The Sith use fear. It's not often used against them. So would they even be able to handle it? Because like Jedi, you're like confronting fear, right? That is what you're supposed to do. But with the Sith, are you supposed you use it as a weapon? So what happens when your own weapon is used against you?
But I feel like at that point we almost might be running into like Pokemon analogy. It's like fire type hitting a fire Pokemon. It's like, okay.
Nah,
Or
that's
is
true.
it a dragon type hitting a dragon type Pokemon?
Also possible. But
Is it
I
a
think at
coincidence
the
we
end of
just
the
used
book-
our gym trainer? our gym trainer buttons?
no, because that's always where our head's at, which is why I completely forgot about Dragon being strong against itself. But I think at the end of the book we do hear from Markion's perspective that he was bummed at the loss of the levelers, but he at least knows where to get more.
Yeah.
So I think we do know that the ones that at least were on the station are gone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So-
The two that are on the station we'll probably figure out in the last 5 issues of High Republic Comics. How many more issues do we have left on the main Marvel run?
I'm so far behind on it. I'm on like issue
I'm
5.
not sure. Like that would be a good question for Malik. If Malik's in the chat, answer that question.
I'm caught up, so I won't say anything.
Shake fist.
I'm not caught up either, but I just know, by the way Fallen Star was playing out and conversations with Malik, we know that the last half of the comics are going to take place in the top half.
Yes, yes, we do know that.
Well, not just High Republic Comics, also Trail of Shadows.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, Trail of Shadows is really, 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 really good.
So as far as I know, it's only going to High Republic 15,
Okay.
which comes out next month.
Interesting.
So we
Oh.
only have one more issue, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Bringing it back though to Orla, I was so excited to like continue adventures of the vessel with Orla included and stuff like that. So to like see that part of it now gone, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
there was
Wait.
so much potential for like a game or anything, and I'm like, I wanted like a Fallen Order style game, except instead of Cal Kestis and the Mantis, it was Orla Jarani on the vessel.
Oh, that would have been
So,
so
like, that would have
good.
been amazing. But now it's just like, well, balls.
Well, there's your High Republic game. Hopefully it's not. Oh God, we won't get into that. But no, I liked how Orla. Well, especially even in the beginning of the book, like Orla is training Elzar in to like control his visions and his connection to the Force, because that was a big thing in Rising Storm, because Elzar was having issues with tapping into the dark side at moments where he was playing which was playing into his emotion, and Orla is perfect in that as well. But I love that first part.
Yeah, the first part was amazing with the training, like doing handstands in the ocean, essentially.
Yeah.
Like just that whole sequence was. It sold me on the concept of Wayseekers, which I really liked. But I think one of the other weird things that really hurts about all that is we'll never know the answer as to why her robes were always so pristine.
Oh. But building on what you were saying about Elzar, I feel like people were making the comparison in Rising Storm, and I agree that like Elzar is like a better Anakin who had more self-awareness and knew like his fault with the Jedi Order, so he knew to like get himself in situations where he could get help while Anakin was pushing himself away from the Jedi. So I feel like this sequence right here really illustrates that like Elzar is Anakin but with more help, because like his first instinct is I'm gonna go to Orla because Orla doesn't like the Jedi Order, and I feel like by using Orla it helps like better like his judgment and everything that way.
The irony is in both instances, by the end of everything, you still have the thought of like, God damn it, Anakin, stop. And it's the same thing with Elzar Man. It's God damn it, Elzar, stop.
No, you're absolutely right.
Even with him actually being more cognizant of his problems and dilemmas, they're still what kind of are a catalyst to a lot of the overall issues as well. But it's also interesting too that like, because he cut himself off in a way, he almost had that like inherent immunity to the levelers.
Yes.
Just because he wasn't paying it like any attention to the Force at all, being disconnected from it like that. So you can even feel.
Which was subtly built up in Rising Storm, because there's one of my favorite scenes in Rising Storm that always stands out to my mind was when Bell, Stellan jump on the rooftop with Elzar when he's scouting out Tyorik, and and Bell goes like, "Why is he cutting himself off from the Force? That's weird." Like that scene easily foreshadows what's gonna happen in Fallen Star with how Elzar is immune to the levelers because he cuts himself off and on with the Force.
Ugh, I miss Orla.
But what else really happened in the first? I mean, it just the build up, just like how
that was the biggest part. Yeah.
That was the best part in that first 17 chapters. It was like it didn't drag. It was as fast paced as Rising Storm was. Like it just the stakes were always high. If something was happening in every chapter.
To me, like Rising Storm felt like a roller coaster, right? So the first few chapters are, just going up, and then the attack happens, and it's just a non-stop ride all the way down until you get to the end of the book, and you're like, this is where it ends. The Fallen Star felt like, I don't know if you've played or watched someone play Alien Isolation.
Oh,
if you watch someone play Alien Isolation, that's what Fallen Star feels like. You're just like, okay, where's the alien? I know it's here. I hear it. I can't control anything that's going on.
I think what it also is reminiscent of for me is almost like impromptu skydiving. Like you're getting thrown out of a plane, you don't know when it's going to happen, and then it's not. There's no roller coaster about it. It's straight up. You're just sitting in a chair waiting for the eject button to be hit. Because there's so many instances where they get so close to figuring out what's going on and uncovering both the Nihil and the levelers, and it's just like they get that close, and it's nope. It's like the tension.
Well, yeah.
I hated it, but I loved it at the same time. It was a good frustration.
Because people would describe this book as a horror book, and I agree to a fault, but I more describe this book as like a suspense thriller. Because oh god, I had the movie. Oh, Cloverfield Lane, 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's exactly how I described it. Like you're trapped in this house, and you're trying to get out, and you're just trying to figure out how they're gonna get out of it entirely, and who's gonna go with it.
That for me is why it feels like kind of the more stereotypical like slasher horror, where it's like the protagonists are powerless against the threat. They have no weapon against it. So it is. I think there are ties between like thrillers and certain horror movies and stuff like that, and that's why like for me I feel, especially the first like third of the book to first half, are very much so horror, until it's like shit has just hit the fan so hard that it's like, okay, there's not even any coming back from it at this point. It's literally just like, we got pieces, what can we do with them?
No, yeah.
But like the intro to the book is very much so for me horror, because you know that like no one's safe.
Yep.
They're completely powerless against this threat, and they're also completely unaware of the threat. And the horror in it comes from just the sheer fact of like how they die. It's not like it's oh, they got them, they've been stabbed, they're dead. It's straight up like the imagery around how their perception of reality even is as the threat gets closer to them, and how they're perceiving the force, their surroundings, their own emotions.
Yes.
And then nothing husk of just lifeless dust.
Oh god.
Essentially, like it's for me, like that's what's horrifying about it, is it's not the person dies, it's they're like deleted.
Yeah. It's like they're deleted out of existence. Absolutely. Like that's
and that
crazy.
for me is something that's actually horrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of times when you think, oh, a Jedi dies, they become one with the Force, etc. That it's like everything about their essence is consumed in entirety. So it's like for me, I'm like, that's horrifying. What? Because like Jedi are always kind of pictured as like, you know, like this ultimate space hero. But when it's like not like, because you even think, you know, with old Ben and stuff like that, you know, strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine by becoming one with the Force, still having an influence on people and stuff like that. This is straight up just, you don't exist.
Yeah.
And that for me is haunting.
It's like they took the Isalamir from Legends and turned them into hunters, because they were just like a creature that was just there to, you know, like, hey, their predators could use the Force, so they evolved to be able to essentially like, hey, if you're in this space with me, you can influence the Force. The Leveler is like, hey, yeah, the Force is a part of everything and you can influence it. I'm going to eat you. Everything that is you, I'm eating it.
Yeah. And not even like the physical consumption. It's straight up just like
your essence.
Energy, your essence, your spirit, however you like want to label it or identify it, gone. And that for me is like what's horrifying, because it doesn't matter what you believe, you just don't exist. It's like that's the stuff that like is what made it really more of horror for me, was the potential to have Jedi who you think are, because like you look at like the Mandalorian, spoilers for season 2, but at the end of season 2 when Luke shows up, it's like, oh, these things that were like this terrifying threat are nothing to a Jedi, because that's how strong you see Jedi in this world. And then to have them literally completely helpless on the other end of that spectrum, it's like you that's really the first and only time you see that, because like even like Palpatine and the Sith and stuff like that, it's like it's 1-for-1, it's combat, you know, they can hold their own. This, it's like 100% powerless.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I mean, the way the prequel Jedi were affected by the dark side or the temple is completely different. It's like you take that essence and you multiply it, amplify it to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just they lose their senses to like what's going on, they lose their connection to the Force. It amplifies like them not having any connection to the Force at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like at all. So it is very terrifying. And like to see who's the first one that dies? I can't remember her name.
Reagan Cole.
Rachel
Yeah.
Cole.
Yeah, Rachel Cole.
Dude, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He like to even get the description and the description of like the encounter, especially for the second victim, before
Orla
Orla.
was the second one.
Orla was second.
Yeah.
Orla
yeah,
was second?
it went Regil Din, Orla.
Oh, Regil Din. Okay, so the first one, Regil Din is just like the whole description of like she's sweating, she's lost all sense, and then all of a sudden she comes into contact and just nothingness.
Like
And that's how the chapter ends.
like she like
Just like
she sees like
Yeah, that
Red
was
eyes.
Orla.
red eyes and
That
like
was Orla's,
flashing
yeah.
colors and then gone.
yeah,
That's the thing that blew me away was it's not like you were saying, it's not just taking the Force away and they're like, oh no, what will I do without the Force? It's straight up destroying their perception of reality
yes. It's like Scarecrow's fear toxin.
to like the nth
The nth
degree, though.
degree. Yeah. Like Scarecrow finally figured out the perfect like amount of fear toxin. And just-
Because like even Harry Potter has like dementors and stuff like
Yes.
that, and that's awful, right? But like this is even more extreme than that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like just the imagery behind it was ugh.
Like I could perfectly visualize like Loden's death now from his point of view, like just because of this
Oh.
book.
Nah.
God.
There's a lot I want to say, but I can't because y'all haven't gotten there in the comics. That's all I can say.
I'm sorry. I'll try my best to catch up so we can talk about it
I think
soon.
I'm on the
Just
most
once-
recent issue.
I need to
Because
catch up.
once you can see it outside
Oh,
of your
yeah.
mind,
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes,
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
I just
Agreed.
imagine you
Agreed.
walking out of frame, puts on Filoni hat, and describes what happens. That's I just
Comes
imagine.
back and hurts us.
it's in the face.
Dude, I'm gonna have like PTSD with cowboy hats now.
No doubt. And I mean, and also throughout that chapter, like it's Bell trying to save his other master.
Indira.
Yeah.
Indira.
Mhm.
And like
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Indira technically is the one that has another encounter with it, but she luckily gets cut off.
yeah, she just gets cut off, and then they take her to the medical bay, and then everything like and also I think we're missing a big thing is with the bottom half, but like not the lower bottom half, but where Elzar and Stellan are, like
Mhm.
that interaction, like they like the leveler affects Stellan to where to the point where he's like, I don't care what happens to Avar. Like
Mhm.
she like that, like he's like figuring out, and then all of a sudden he's like, why am I thinking this way?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see, and this is kind of skipping forward a little bit to when Avar's ship actually like gets nearby, and to see them at each other's throats,
Yeah.
and even Avar's just like, that this isn't like Stellan, this isn't like me. Like, why am I upset?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like just that whole concept to like see, because throughout the beginning of the novel it's kind of a slow burn, but to see how quickly it actually affects Jedi and Force sensitives, and especially like in, again, this is kind of skipping even more forward with Bell as he's taking the little shuttle back, and how he's just like hard no, like nope, like I cannot go there.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, because the Jedi that we have seen affect the leveler have all been extremely tired, extremely spent.
Yes.
So it makes me think, and we know Elzar had cut himself off from the Force or minimize his connection to it. But it makes me think, okay, outside of them, like if you brought some Jedi from Coruscant just chilling, coming to, reinforce Starlight, how they would be affected by it. Because we know Stellan has run himself ragged. Avar's ran herself ragged. Elzar is not at it balanced. Bell has been through the ringer. Indira, Burry, Nib, Regil. They all talk about it. Or Regil. They all talk about it. And we know at least like Orla, Regil, and Regil and Orla were at least, rather rested. And it was just kind of like, something's off. I don't know what, but something's off. But it feels different than before. Versus, Stellan, who's just ready to snap.
Well, it also didn't help that kind of the connection from the docking bay where they were, and like the tunnels that they were using were right past his corridor as well. Or his chambers that he was staying in.
It makes me wonder about the range.
Yeah.
And there's all and how focused it can be, right? And there's a reason why I say that, and I won't get specifics, but if they had the cage, right, and the cage kind of blocked it, what,
yeah, how does that cage work, and why wasn't any other part of the station like that?
It also makes me think, how will they beat it? Because if this is something that is eating at your connection to the Force, you're going to need non-Force sensitives to help you fight it. Now, if this is during the prequel era, you got the clones. Just send in loads of clones like the Jedi's. I'm
curious if it's something to do with their cognition, like if they're awake, that's when they're kind of exuding this aura. Because I imagine that to transport them, they might have been put to sleep, and that's how they were able to kind of sneak them in, and then the slow burn starts once they wake up and kind of start feeding and fueling themselves off of everyone else.
I'm wondering if, again, I haven't read Trail Shadow, so I have no basis for this, but I wonder if, because they have multiple levelers on Starlight Beacon, do they feed off each other to give each other more energy to, multiply out over Starlight? How does that work?
That won't answer that question.
I can't imagine that would be how they would function just on a, energy standpoint.
They don't.
Because then you would have one that, gets strong enough to just sap the other one to nothingness, and then you just have one.
Yeah, and if you think about it from Markion Rowe standpoint, he wants the numbers. So if that were the case, then it would kind of destroy everything. And another thing, Markion Rowe during this whole damn thing, he's a genius. He is getting up there with Palpatine and Vader as one of the most menacing villains in Star Wars. The guy is straight up is a menace.
He's still on characters I would give the middle finger territory.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I know I would die for doing it. Whereas I wouldn't even do that with Palpatine or Vader. I'd just be, I'm gonna avoid them like the plague. But he's still on you know what? Screw it. I hate you.
I don't really fear Markion. I fear Vader and Palpatine.
Yeah.
I fear Thrawn. I don't fear Kylo Ren. I can't. I saw his face. It does not. It kind of makes me want to laugh. Which then I would get tossed out a window, but I would still probably be laughing all the way. But Markion, like you were saying, Cal, giant middle finger.
Like, I know it would get me killed, but you took my favorite character away from me, man.
Cal's just gonna be like, worth it.
He's like,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Suck on this, Martian.
But it also doesn't make it also makes me think that he's not gonna be a physical kind of villain, even though we're seeing that he's, just like stacked.
Entirely
in the
capable
comics.
of being a physical villain.
I
Yes.
don't think he will, because we saw a brief instance of that in Rising Storm. But I think when it comes down to it, he's not like, I don't think it would be, unless you have like, and for me, I want Bell to take down Markion personally.
Yes, I agree with that.
Fucking
nice.
same.
Unless Bell made it through like 3 levelers and he's just like and then him and Markion fight, that's like the only way it's gonna be able to go down.
Hold on. So this made my brain go to something. Okay, Cal and Chris probably know this game. Okay, do you remember the Star Wars Clone Wars game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The movie tie-in title.
Not
Or
the
like
animated
Commando.
one. Like
Like
it was
the
made in
one that was
2003.
made.
The tank for the tanks. Like you
Yeah,
played
yeah,
as
yeah.
a tank.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the storyline of the Reaper? The last thing, the sucking, it sucks the force out of force users.
Vaguely.
Okay, so
I played it
there's
when I was a wee lad.
yes, yeah. Well, same here. I absolutely played through that because that campaign is absolutely insane.
I don't know if I could. Anyways, continue.
So this weapon is called the Dark Reaper, and it was destroyed by this Jedi, who Anakin has to go learn from a Jedi temple in Renvar. So what if there is something that they find out? Okay, so now we're going back in time, right, for Phase 2?
Mm-hmm.
What if they learn how to stop the leveler? Like we learn the story of how the Jedi were able to deal with levelers then, but that knowledge was lost to us.
Well, what makes me think, like, I've had a similar thought, because I'm like, okay, thinking about this, there are at least 2 Jedi that we know that were alive around 150. No, 3. We know 3.
Yes, 3.
Yoda, Yaddle, and Sal. Sal was a Padawan. I don't know how old Operensis is at this point. I don't know how old.
We know the. Why am I forgetting his name?
Is Operensis the one from Lightsaber Lost? That's Operensis, right?
He was in Tempest Runner. He was the one that helped Lorna.
We know the Blade of Gargano is going to be in it from Light of the Jedi. And Rising
Yeah. Okay.
Storm.
So then that's 4 confirmed.
Well, what about
So-
the guy from Lightsaber Lost in the Clone Wars? Isn't he really old? Wasn't he around during the High Republic?
I don't know who you're talking about. Describe it. Physically
The
describe him.
dinosaur-looking guy. You can't stop. You got to think when you're doing things. Like during that whole time where the lightsaber is lost, like when Ahsoka's lost her lightsaber. I thought his name was Operensis.
No.
Who is that guy?
I'm googling it now.
Yeah, he was only in like 1 episode of the Clone Wars.
No, but
I
he's
know.
really old.
I know Operensis is because of the Clone Wars Dark Horse comics.
Hold on. Who is it? Who is it? Terra Sanube! Terra Sanube. He's old. He's got to be in the High Republic.
But is he
old.
350 plus years old?
That's the
Okay,
real
so
question.
Sanube. So okay, oh, wait, hold on.
Looks pretty old.
Hold on. Sanube was the marshal of a Jedi outpost on Dara during the High Republic era.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
So yeah, it was he
I
was
see.
born prior to 231 years before the Battle of Yavin. So yeah, he was definitely around. He was on the younger side.
Yeah, he was around for the High Republic, but he wasn't around for
Phase
Not
two.
for
the
yeah,
Jedi
yeah.
era.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so we know Yoda's gone. We know Yoda was on. Wait, have y'all read any of Trail of Shadows?
Yes. I've read.
I know what happens with Yoda though.
I can earmuffs.
Well,
and do this.
it's not. It's something you see on a panel where you see Yoda's ship from the High Republic Adventures there. So we
Oh,
know
yeah,
Yoda
yeah,
was
yeah.
at least there. So you can come back.
Come back, Cal.
So it makes me think that maybe
I just love how we're all like signaling, like, Cal,
Yeah.
we're on your headphones.
it makes me think that either because Yoda's been around for 700 years at this point, right? So he had to have heard something because, you know, and so maybe that's why we haven't seen Yoda since High Republic Adventures like 3. Because I mean, he's got to be doing something useful. Otherwise, more and more people are just going to grow to hate Yoda because they're going to be like, Yoda isn't doing anything and all our favorites are dying.
I remember telling Luke this because, again, when we were reading through Fallen Star, we were all like at similar points. Like, I think we were on the exact same chapter. Like, we're like going at the same pace. It was really cool. And I remember afterwards, we all jumped into VC and started talking about it. And me and Carter both at the same time go, Yoda is the problem in the High Republic.
He's the problem. He's the problem in the prequels, like, as well. Like, him in being problematic, like, on accident is totally Yoda. Like, he doesn't mean to be problematic, but it's like he accidentally stumbles into things and then, like, completely is just like, okay, whatever. We'll go with it.
Like, where was he during, like, the attack on Vala? Where was he during Fallen Star? He's like, nowhere. He's just gone.
No, yeah, he was out with the younglings, man. He's gotta train them younglings, man.
Chilling out.
Yeah, he's not even with the younglings.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Guy from Zine's planet.
Oh yeah, that's right. But wasn't he at the cook-off though, or not the cook-off, but the bake-off?
The bake-off? I don't know. I haven't actually read the bake-off because I was only so physically.
Oh.
And I haven't stepped inside a comic store in
months. Comicsology.
No, years. I haven't been to a comic store since probably when I was in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. But no, yeah, it's just so funny to like think about like how much they built up. Like after Orla dies, it's just like nothing feels right at all. You're just like, nope, everybody's gonna die on here. It doesn't matter. We're all gonna die. Like this is all not going well at all.
I would have been pissed if they killed Bell. Oh, I would have been so mad. I might have stopped reading the High Republic.
I honestly am right there with you. Is Bell my favorite character in the High Republic? No, but they're the one that I refuse to let them do anything bad to.
Yeah.
That is a precious child who needs to be protected at all costs.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's not even a child, but still.
I would agree. Like, Bell, in my mind, is when I like. Obviously, he's not my favorite character, but when I think the High Republic, I think Bell and his journey.
Preemptive, bless you, or was that a yawn?
It was a yawn. I was trying to stifle it.
Yeah.
But shifting to like Luke's already on that path anyway, so shifting a little bit further ahead to Act 2, and basically I just call it because like you really can't split this book into acts that much because like there's only 35 chapters.
Because it's all pain.
Pain.
Do it by major characters' deaths.
That's how I did it. That's how I did it. That's how I did it. I did Orla, Nib, and then obviously Stellan. That's how I split this.
This is like reading this part of this chapter, being a Buryaga fan.
Oh,
I'm just like, I swear to God.
It was like
I
punching in the
swear to
gut.
God, you touch one hair on that Wookiee's fucking back, I am going to murder you.
They touched several.
Yeah.
The Wrath
Not
touched
fun.
several of those hairs.
I was like, all right, he's gonna make it out. He's very resourceful. This Wookiee has got it. Like he's not gonna die. And then like instantly, it was like, all right, Bell and Burry, you're gonna distract. Like Stellan like gets Buryaga, and he's like, all right, we're gonna distract him. I was like, no, get out of there. Get out of there.
I wish Carter was in this episode because he literally called Nib's death on the dime. It was crazy.
Yes.
He goes, Burry and Bell are awfully close. Nib's gonna die.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't just establish this whole relationship about losing your masters and then have Burry be fine. Like, you gotta establish that.
I didn't react to Nib's death other than, oh no, Burry. It was just like it was just like, you know, and there was like, and they come up on like the husk, and it's Nib, and I'm just like, oh, Burry, no.
Yeah. And I was about to say that. I'm like, I don't know why I hardly remember Nib's death, and that's because I didn't really remember the death. I just remembered how it, like, I was like, no, Burry.
Yeah.
Because what I imagined was Chewie and the Rise of Skywalker reacting to Leia, and just like
no.
Belle trying to come over to him, and he's just like, and I'm just like, Burry, no.
Yeah, that's what I imagined as well. Like buried is on his knees screaming.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, nothing hurts quite like a Wookiee being sad.
Mm.
Oh, it's the worst. Because they're just like so, and it's like, to think about it from a Wookiee culture, like it's a big deal when a Wookiee has Force sensitivity. Like they are held to like the highest degree in Wookiee culture, and like that's why there's not a ton of them that we know of in canon. There's only 2 that we know of in canon officially right now.
3
Or
Wait.
3. No, 2.
Burry, Gungi. I feel like I'm missing one.
Burry, Kunji, and then I thought that was it.
Santo's gotta be.
Chris
Nah, that would be dope though. All of a sudden he shows up with a saber. I'm like,
Well, it's not that, but it's like just how freaking lucky he is.
yeah, that's true too. But then again, he was a gladiator for 25 plus years. But like when Burry was like Burry the entire time. When Burry was like in trouble, I was like, nope, this is not happening. Like I was in denial each chapter. I was like, okay, if I can just make it to the end of the chapter, I know he's okay. I just know it. And then I can't even remember which chapter. I think it was like chapter 27 or something like that. When Elzar, well, is it Elzar? It was Elzar. It wasn't Stellan they were trying to get the Rathtar's attention. It was Elzar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Elzar escapes, he finds Bell and tells him about Burry, and then that's an emotional part because Bell has
Refuses to.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. He's like, I've not lost. There's no way that he's dead. There's no way that he's dead. He's got to survive this.
Until I find a body.
Oh,
That's
I
true
won't give
too.
up.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's
No
just
one's
that's
ever
kind of
really
his
gone.
mentality. Is he gave up on Loden,
Yes.
and well, not necessarily gave up, but like admitted defeat, so to speak. And then to see his resolve at the end of it, to be like, nope, I'm not going to do that again. Not this time.
Well, I know Buryaga is getting a children's book called, what is it, like the Battle of Starlight or something like that?
It's out now, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it is? Well, I've been really behind my game on High Republic. But we've been joking about it in like Discord as a joke. Just imagine this book being like, hey kids, you love this Wookiee, now he's dead.
Yeah, no. No. I just, oh my God.
That would be so High Republic, and it's like at the bottom it's just like written by Calvin Scott.
Just the fact that it was so honorable because like if you listen to the audiobook, like it's just like Boryaga is trying his hardest, like the Rathtar is like kicking his ass, but it's like go back to Santo taking out all those mobsters, or not the mods.
The Trandoshans.
Yeah.
That and the Trandoshans. Like think about that. Wookiees are extremely strong. Now put a Force sensitive Wookiee into a battle.
Oh,
Like that guy is not going down without a fight. And like Burry,
Also, like let's go ahead and if they're that much of a problem for Jedi, let alone Wookiee Jedi,
yes.
Han Solo capturing some. Let's throw that out there. Like, sure he lost like majority of his crew doing it, but like,
Kudos.
yeah,
that's an
and
impressive
kudos.
feat.
And I hate saying it, but kudos to the Nihil for also doing that because that's
Oh my God. Well, I mean, Mark, does it really surprise us? Mark Yam was probably like, "Hey,
feed them
yeah."
Nihil members until they're tired and fall asleep.
Well, do you think the Nihil actually captured them, or do you think they stole them from someone?
Ooh. Either way, that works.
Yeah, either way, it's tough. But it was at this section of the book that Stellan has a line that legitimately made me pause my audiobook and call my sister to be like, I need to talk to you about this, and you need to catch the hell up on these books. And it's because it's a line that just resonated with me so damn hard. And that was it. I'm going to paraphrase it probably fairly poorly, but it was along the lines of, if you haven't defined who you are and your sense of self, how can you truly be selfless?
Oh,
Yeah.
And that line hit me so hard. Like, I legitimately like paused the book right where it was, and it like immediately picked up the phone and was like, damn, that hit me. Because like, it is one of those moments where you like, as somebody who finds a bit of like social anxiety and stuff like that, and constantly feeling like I'm masking thoughts and stuff like that to try and, you know, make everybody happy. Like, I volunteer the fact that I'm a walking doormat of a person. But to feel like, am I doing that for me because like this is who I am, or is it like a part of this order and stuff like that? Like, if you haven't actually taken the time to figure out yourself, you're not giving anything up. It's literally just you just bending for the sake of bending for everyone else, or for in Stellan's case, the Jedi and the Order. So it's like that. I don't know, man. That line just was super potent for me, and I was like, it was at that moment that I'm like, because like every book before this, like especially like Rising Storm, I was like slowly but surely kinning Stellan even more. And then it was at that moment I'm like, yep, favorite character right there.
I just
That's when I knew he was gonna die.
Yep. Me too.
Pretty much.
But for me, I'm just like, you know, when I was reading it, to me, and looking at what we've gotten in comic books and in the previous books, I was just like, I feel like Stellan wasn't originally supposed to die here. And then the interview came out.
Yes.
I was just like, vindication.
I don't know what interview.
Oh,
Claudia Gray admitted that Stellan wasn't originally supposed to die. She changed it at the last second.
Damn it!
I feel like
Control Z that script.
I feel like Stellan dying, like
Hurts.
it well, and even Cal, think about this. He also says, like, even when the leveler is affecting him, he starts to doubt himself as a Jedi. Like, what am I if not for the Jedi Order? Like, what am I without the Council? What am I without being a Jedi? Which is seriously tough, because that's all he knows. That's what he's given his whole entire life to, and he feels like, I've done so much. This is so much of me that I don't know what I would do if I wasn't a part of it.
It's like, well,
Which
let's find out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Honestly, and I guess we're kind of like hop, skipping, and jumping into the third section of the book, with the closing of it. But legitimately, like, his death. Was I in tears? Yes. B, was it purely because I was like, is this exactly what I would do in this situation? Yes. Because as soon as the droid's like, cool, you've lowered it, like the casualty count from thousands to like maybe a dozen. In my head, before Stellan even says it in the audiobook, I'm like, 12's too many. And he comes right out and says it. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, why do you have to be so righteous, you bastard?
And then the droid's like, my arms are too weak to do it. And I was just like, you didn't have to say that. You did not have to.
Like,
you could have just let me think it, like, what about the droid? But no, you just had to throw that out there. You know what? This wouldn't happen if, you know, Stellan had longer hair and he had hair ties.
Right.
My favorite thing about that scene, again, because again, we're just kind of jumping to Act 3, but like, I love the final conversation between Elzar and Stellan, and Stellan like, you gotta go, basically, type thing.
Yeah, and like Elzar, well, even then, Elzar it encounters the two Nihil, the
Oh.
Nihil prisoners.
Oh.
Chansey
Yeah,
and
Chansey
Nan.
and Nan.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the book, and we haven't even touched on them, but like their story is very critical in this whole thing because they
Mhm.
start off like they get captured, they're
Frenemies.
they're frenemies, and then like all of a sudden they're like, we're still on the ship. There's no way out of here. We gotta reverse this.
Mhm.
And they, towards the end of the book, they run into the other Nihil saboteurs, and the Nihil saboteurs are like, "You've betrayed us," and then they go into a fight with them. And then Elzar shows up. Nax just completely decapitates.
Oh, he didn't. He gave her the Darth Maul treatment.
Oh no, he jumps
Oh,
down
yeah.
and slices her down.
Slices her, slices her. Yeah,
He cut her in half.
yeah, cuts her in
Mhm.
half, and like, oh,
And mind you, that's right after a moment where it's like Chansey's like, when I get out of here, I'm gonna go see my daughter, and
Yes!
he has to try and turn some stuff around, and you're like, you're gonna die, you son of a bitch.
And the best, okay, it was this scene right here was the scene
Oh,
where I'm like,
God.
Elzar Man is my favorite High Republic character because
Oh, he's my least favorite.
like the second he turns off his lightsaber and puts it away, he's like, what have I done?
well, yeah,
pulled
it's
an
basically, it's basically he
Mhm.
is the Anakin He is the better version of Anakin Skywalker in the High
Better.
Republic.
I'm just trying to, I was just like,
He had
you-
his damn chance to be better, and he still isn't. He's on my
I was-
shit list.
if Ty were there, she would have punched Elzar and kept him from doing it. That's all I'm saying.
Would have
you
punched him,
have-
kept
you
him
ha-
from doing it, saved the whole damn situation. Stellan would be alive.
I
You
don't know
have
if Stone's
monsters
still
on
lives.
Starlight.
Yeah, because
Who do you
there
call a
wouldn't-
monster hunter?
The only reason why Stellan had to stay there to hold it was because Chansey couldn't finish.
Oh yeah,
fixing
that's
it
true.
in time.
That okay, that's true.
That's the
I guess
whole
that's
reason
true.
is because Elzar's a piece of shit, and I hate it.
No, that's the
And
best
we're
part.
gonna have to deal
It's
with
not the
that.
best part; it's the worst part.
And we're gonna have to deal with that in phase 3.
I say that
Yeah.
lovingly
When,
because I love
you
the story,
know-
but god damn it, Elzar.
Elzar is gonna have to deal with the fallout of like, I did this, I killed my best friend. It's just like
He already had
don't
that though
like,
with Valo.
yeah, I don't like that trope necessarily.
I know,
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
that's,
and
that's why
also-
I'm so frustrated with it. It's like we already had that with Valo. Like he already had his chance to be better, and he's not. Like I don't want to see him get his best friend killed and be like, I'll do everything in my life now to be better. It's like,
You had your chance.
bruh, you
you didn't
already
do
should
that.
have you were already on that path to begin with. Like
Yeah.
it was just so frustrating to me. But like it is good.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I'm just emotional because my favorite character died. And I'm
Oh
sad.
well, Stellan and Buryaga were my top two.
Mhm.
So just imagine like that. That was like those last pages, like because we're still up in the air. We don't have a body for Burry, so the jury's still out. I still think he's dead
He's
because
fine.
why would they?
They're not
Why
gonna-
would they?
It's fine.
Why no?
Ever the
no,
optimist.
no. No, because you know what? It's a Wookiee Jedi, and they don't like Wookiee Jedi in canon. Okay, it's a fact. All
Well,
right.
we don't know what happened to Gunji.
He's fine. They're not gonna kill him in a children's book, hopefully.
don't
No.
don't
No,
let
the
her get-
children's book's just gonna be like, because I have the other children's book from the Light of the Jedi. That's
Oh.
just basically like a cute little recap of Light of the Jedi.
That's essentially what Battle for Starlight is.
Oh.
Is it really?
Yeah, just without
Do
the
you
death.
find? Do you? Bro, yeah, he's dead. He's dead. He is dead.
You just know,
Sorry,
you just
buddy.
know he disappears. That's all I know about it.
No.
Digital hugs, homie.
F in the
Digital
chat
hugs.
For Luke.
Oh my god, that was my one hope, and now it's gone.
Yeah, I
You're
thought
welcome.
I thought the whole
Yeah,
book was gonna be
don't
like.
worry, that's me with Stellan, and then the lightsaber was.
F in
Yeah,
the
al-
chat.
I was
although.
like, well, yep, nope,
and
there's
then
no hope.
Avar was like, "I can't hear a song," and I was like, "Well,
Oop.
No, I cried.
Well,
And now I also need to buy myself Stellan's lightsaber to just have.
Yes.
Yes, that saber is freaking awesome. I love the
Although-
design of that.
If there were one person I would say from the book, it would still be Orla, because
Same.
I feel like we didn't get a lot, and I feel like if they even did like prequel content for her now, it would feel cheap to me.
For me, Stellan's death, while like I said, it is my favorite character, makes sense. He goes out in the way I imagined he would.
Yeah.
And it actually, like, his death means something and does something for the story. Orla just dies, and I'm not okay with that.
Well,
And no one really reacts to it.
well, I mean,
Except for Elzar slightly.
I mean, I would say Orla's death is to help. I hate this, but it's mainly to push Stellan's arc forward. It's cheap, but that's what it mainly is the purpose of. Like it makes Stellan self-doubt into like, oh my god, she was right about me type thing.
Well, it also pushes Elzar to a darker place as well.
Yeah.
And that's 'cause
Absolutely.
that's one of his thoughts when cutting Chansey down is like, this is for Orla, you son of a bitch.
And it's like, dude,
I get
it's
it,
like,
dude. I get it.
And we didn't need it, because you
No.
could have just had the leveler do that.
Yeah.
Fucking, let's be real here. Elzar, Anakin, they're essentially Sasuke from Naruto. Every
Yes.
problem could be solved with just calm down, Sasuke.
Yep.
Just take a chill pill for a second.
And that's why I love
It's
all
the
of them.
Same
Okay.
way with
Sasuke
I love
is
all
the
of them.
worst.
Shut up.
Elzar is
Shut
the
up.
worst.
Shut up.
Anakin is the
shut up.
worst.
Shut up. I will not.
All three of them are Luke's favorite
Sasuke
characters.
should have never
They're
been
all
pardoned
three,
by
like, my least
Kakashi.
favorite
You
right now.
stop that slander right now.
I'm gonna,
alright?
I'm gonna
why he
slap
got
that
stabbed.
sucker around.
This is why
Without-
Sasuke
without
got
the
stabbed in
Renegon-
the eye in Boruto.
What-
That's why he's not special anymore.
Okay, all right, hold on. Without the Renegon, with the Sharingan, they would not have been able to beat what's her face.
She wouldn't
At
have been
the
a
end.
problem if any of that had happened.
But is that Sasuke's fault?
Yes.
Partially.
If he hadn't betrayed the leaf and gotten the third Hokage killed,
I don't,
none of that would have happened.
but is that really his
None
fault that
of
the
that would have
Hokage died? He was
I-
the face
no,
of Orochimaru. What
No,
the-
it's not his fault. It's not his fault the third Hokage died, but it is
Probably
his
is.
fault that he left the leaf in such a vulnerable position for the rest of Shippuden to happen.
Okay, all right.
No,
I will agree
I
with that.
would
with you.
argue that he's responsible for the third death.
Oh, what?
Anyways,
How?
this isn't a Naruto.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
podcast.
let's talk about that after.
I was sitting back and just letting the chaos happen because I was enjoying it. But I was gonna jokingly say, when that discussion started, Luke, isn't that all three of your favorite characters?
Yeah, well, Elzar wasn't. Elzar now is up there. Well, okay. So I wanted to say this earlier. So thinking about the best friend thing, I think it's interesting because that's an Obi-Wan trait that he has to deal with Anakin. Now that's Elzar instead of because we put when this whole relationship started, we put Stellan as Obi-Wan and Elzar as Anakin. Like that's like cut dry. There's two similar characters.
Except
And now-
Elzar has better game.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. He knows exactly what to do and exactly what to say. Whereas
Anakin
Padme
doesn't.
runs that whole joint. But anyway, but like now seeing Elzar struggle with the death of Stellan is like so interesting because then we
Oh.
get what if Obi-Wan had died and Anakin had to deal with that burden.
And Elzar is
wouldn't
doing
have,
it.
I don't think.
Elzar is doing it better than Anakin. Clone
Yes.
Wars.
Exactly.
Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll be honest.
yeah.
Elzar is higher on the totem pole than Anakin is for me. Because Anakin would have felt nothing. He would have just continued to spiral into insanity and whatnot.
Oh.
Whereas Elzar at least has the wherewithal to like self-reflect.
Yes.
We see that with Anakin in the Clone Wars Obi-Wan Bounty Hunter arc when Anakin believes Obi-Wan died and he just starts flipping
Yeah.
out and starts killing people.
Well, sure, but that's when Anakin was still like a somewhat decent person,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat.
Like his instinct is
But
anger.
by the end of episode 3, he would have felt nothing.
Yeah, you're probably right because he had been through. He had
He'd
seen
already,
so much.
Yeah, he would. For him, Obi-Wan was just another barrier
Obstacle.
between him and Power and Padme.
Yeah, and
Like he actively thought that he was ruining his entire plan by turning Padme against him.
Yep.
When that's obviously not true. But anyways,
but with Elzar, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like Elzar.
yeah, Elzar actually like has the wherewithal to realize that like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see the fallout of like
Mhm.
if Elzar tells anybody that he murdered somebody.
He still didn't tell anybody about his dream. Like,
Yeah,
You
that
know.
too. Like at the end of Light of the Jedi, you're just like, Elzar, are you okay? Like you just see all these
You
visions
good,
of
bud?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, again,
It's just
calm
again,
down, Elzar.
Elzar.
Talk it out.
Use your voice.
Use your words.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of use your words, that was the most annoying thing in the first two acts is when they're all in the meeting. They're like, and they're all just like, oh, "We're disconnected from the Force. We can't feel anything." I'm like, just say something, god damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was texting Camilla, and when
Yes.
Rachel was just like, "No, it's not that big of a deal," and I was like, "No, you
The
idiot!
fuck it
You're the
isn't.
dumb one in the horror movie. It's
Yeah.
This is why everybody dies, Rachel." So when he was just like, "Help me," and I was just like, "See, now what we learn? Well, you didn't learn anything because you're gone now, but
Mhm. It's a lesson.
because of
don't
you,
get to,
Orla had to die."
I think what is also really fascinating about this book as well is really the stories that we've talked about thus far have really just been the Jedi versus the levelers in Nihil, but there's also the like kind of subplot with the crew of the vessel and maintaining a level head with mob mentality during chaos and stuff like that, which was also a really good story in and of itself.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, there's the moment with Leox where I'm like, do parachutes not exist in Star Wars? I'm like, what the fuck? And of course they do. And thank God, I was about to like punch the world into pieces.
So out of all the deaths that got me, weirdly enough, it was Leox that like hit me to like, oh, like I don't know why that one hit me the most.
Because
it's so unexpected and it's so like unceremonious. It's just wind takes him, he flies off the ship. Bye.
I heard that part and I was just like, well,
that was nice.
All right. Yeah. I'm already bleeding out, Claudia. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Now you're just,
all right, I guess. Who's next?
Geo.
Can we talk about Geode being a complete boss throughout the entire book?
Right?
It's just
every book he's a legend. I'm like,
Geode now fucks. That's that he just pulls game. He's just like he doesn't even, he's that silent type that gets all of the chicks because he's a fucking rock. And I love it. It's just like he doesn't have to try.
I also love the scene where I forget who it was. It was like their arch rival, like
that asshole. Let me just tell you.
And he pulls out a gun and points at it. Like we're leaving now, basically. And Geo jumps in front of it and like saves.
Magnetizes himself.
That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like I was like Geode for the win. Like he can magnetize anything now. He is basically Beskar. Don't come at me with this.
Well, it was the same way in Into the Dark. It's the same way here. I love the way Claudia writes Geode.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so funny. And it's so perfect. Like always, his calm demeanor, stunned silence and stuff like that. Like just everything is all lined up to explain why it's just a fucking rock sitting there. Yeah. And it's like, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Every line with Geode, I'm like, this is my favorite. This is the best and funniest thing ever. It's like a direct line to my funny bone and my heart.
I love the story of how Claudia Gray came up with Geode, because she was saying, well, she was writing Into the Dark. She was like, I don't want to just do Han and Chewie because that's boring. And she said she was doing the dishes one night, and her husband goes, why don't you just do a rock? And she goes, oh my god, that's brilliant. Because like she's like, how could I write emotions with a rock? Like she thought it was a fun writing challenge.
And honestly, like I think that's why I love it, is it subverts your expectation in the most delightful way, because there's always a reason for Geode to be completely unemotive and stationary. Like his badass cool fucking I just took a bullet, like yeah. Like yeah, like that part. Or like his stunned silence at like the loss of Leox, like just carry on with what you're doing. Like it's all of those things that it's like, yeah, of course somebody who's strong, like they are quite literally a rock, but they are also like an emotional rock, and they're somebody that doesn't waver and is just like they personify that so well. And it's like I don't know, Geode is one of those characters that like I totally understand why anybody who hasn't read any of the books, like, there's a character that's a fucking rock, are you kidding me?
Oh, I fucking love
but
it.
Just read the books, listen to the audiobooks, whatever you gotta do. Like 10 out of 10, priceless character.
I just remember when like just listening to what Geo does, and I just imagine him being like Geralt in The Witcher, just being reacting to everything. That's it. He gets shot.
Yep. Yep.
Fuck. Just him, just like.
I also love
it's just so good
how this book basically confirms that Leox Jossi is just Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, they even gave him an all right.
Yeah,
even an audio. All right.
Yep, I'm like, oh hell yeah. And I feel like Mark Thompson even like
turns it
gives
on.
the twang.
Turned up the notch on the twang and the Matthew McConaughey impression. I'm like, oh, he heard the inspiration for this character and is just hardcore leaning into it now. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I love this.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
So good. And I also love the imagery of Leox just parachuting in with goggles on, be like, so.
all right, I survived.
He's like, he's alive.
The fuck do you expect?
Yeah, Geode's like, I saw that coming from a mile away.
Geode's just like the cool, just like, yep.
Yep, that's happening. No, or and also like Senator Staros.
Oh, that was a good subplot.
I hate her. She's the worst. She's dead to me.
She's almost as bad as Elzar.
Oh, absolutely. No, but
almost gotcha.
She's like, well, okay, so Staros, like, she is like a big player in Rising Storm, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so like she's been a double agent since Rising Storm, or even before that, and it makes complete sense. And I hate her, and the fact that she's doing it for love, for
Marchion Ro without his armor.
Yeah, love. More like I want to just like, you know, do the nasty
intercourse with him. Intercourse.
Yeah, and I'm just like reading these chapters, and I'm just like, what, girl? You realize that he's gonna just turn around and point a blaster at you and blow you half to bits. And
I mean, it is one of those tough things where you see somebody make a decision that has had such cascading ramifications that they just couldn't foresee because they're not thinking that many steps ahead, like Marchion is. So it's like to see them make a decision that for them is just, get a little, like, sell a little bit of this information to kind of get with this dude who has power, money, and whatever. Cool. Oh, he's planning on killing everybody. Okay, well,
But
I'm
like
here
she,
now.
but like in the also thing, like he gets like illegal droids, which to
Yeah.
us as as people that know what the story is down the line, and we look at droids, like honestly, the thing that I thought when they described those droids, I was like, those are the Imperial, like they are supposed to be like the Imperial shock troopers from, not shock troopers,
Dark
but
Troopers?
the dark troopers from Mando. Like that's what I was picturing. Like
I
that menacing.
I pictured a different type of droid. There was ones from KOTOR that were kind of like stupidly shielded.
Yep, that's what I was imagining as well.
Very top heavy.
Oh, okay.
I'll find a picture of it and throw it to you on Discord.
Would not surprise me because Claudia Gray is a huge Old Republic fan. Would not surprise me at all.
No, but like even that. So he has now. So think about this. He has the Naiho. He's got these droids, and he's got, we don't know how many levelers now. It could be countless. And I truly believe this. This will come down to an attack on Coruscant. In phase 3, he will attack the main center of the Republic and the Jedi.
Why does it always have to be Coruscant?
No, I don't think he can, because if I remember correctly, now I don't know if this is canon anymore. They said Coruscant hadn't been invaded in millennia.
I mean, you could change that easily if they wanted to.
Yeah, but
I mean,
but think about it. If there was, if some, like, granted, we know like Palpatine could, like leave things open for the Separatists to come invade. But if there was an invasion 200 years ago by a group of pirates that was able to do any kind of lasting damage, like,
yeah, that would have prepared him for okay, that makes sense.
Right, because even if you don't have anything in space, you're gonna have things on the planet.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, then it's just like he's got the army, he's got everything that he needs. Just like he can, like, even at the end of the book, he sends the transmission of like, I am that
scene.
You should fear me. That whole scene gave me like chills, because it was like a very much like Palpatine-esque like thing.
Like, I love the line where it's like if I really wanted
Those things are
to.
menacing.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was looking at the droids. Those are, that's kind of what I was thinking, but maybe not just not one leg. It was be both legs. But no, yeah, those are.
The way I see it is actually without legs and is just kind of
hovering.
Ominously.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah. I'm sending pictures to everybody here. So sorry, chat. I don't have a way to throw them. I actually technically have a way to throw them up on the screen, but
I just wanted someone to interrupt Mark Yonder and his little like villain monologue and just be like, "Man, shut up."
I thought
and he just slices them in half.
I thought for a good second, I forget who's with Markdown the entire book. Like the person that's
Staros.
Staros. I thought Staros
is,
and,
but also his aide.
His aide.
I thought his aide was gonna shoot him at some point.
She's
because
she's too
she
loyal.
wants to be. She wants to be the
right-hand man.
Yeah.
I was 50-50 on that because the way they kept like going to her during that monologue, I was like, she's gonna shoot him or something.
Well, because she doesn't understand why Markion brings Staros or allows Staros to be part of the group, because she's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, and she gets jealous at a point during that whole interaction.
Yeah. And that, again, going back to that monologue about, like, I love the line where it's like, if I really wanted to, the entire galaxy would be under my boot right now.
Well, I also just love how he kind of has that, like, inner reflection of, like, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna, like, okay, you know what, screw it, we're going for it. Like, I shouldn't say that all of this power is mine. I should say it's the Nihil's, but like,
screw it,
it's
mine.
time that everybody knows that, like, no, I am this threat. It's not the Nihil, it is me. And I'm curious if that hubris is going to line up with kind of the same type of like Sith hubris we see with like Maul and stuff like that, where it's like, Yeah, you shouldn't have played your ace quite yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm wondering if those daddy issues are going to rear their head, and that's because no. Think about it. Think about it. The man's got daddy issues.
Oh
but,
yeah.
like he's literally got his dad's voice
Yes.
in his head.
Well, we don't hear it as much in this book, particularly.
We didn't hear it at all, but
Yeah.
we heard it in Rising Storm.
Rising
so it
Storm,
makes me think
yeah.
it's like that's coming
Did he
back.
resolve it, or is it something that is only going to get worse?
I think it's gonna only
Yeah,
get
it'll
worse.
get
I think
worse.
he's gonna
I do
end
too.
up being like Azula
It's
in book 3.
Oh,
it's going to be what
Um,
completely undoes him, I think,
Yeah,
and makes him actually go like ravenously insane.
but I also think this is him declaring war on the inner planets of
Yeah, the inner
because we
ring.
know they've stuck to the outer rim.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's going to play into Senator Toombs' hand for getting a Republic
And
defense force.
Actually, what militarizes the Republic?
Correct.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because if they just attacked Coruscant, then it would just be like, okay, that'd be a need for a planetary defense force,
well,
but not necessarily a Republic defense force. You need that if they're hitting Planet A,
All of the
B,
core
C,
worlds.
D.
Corellia, like
Mhm.
we find out in Midnight Horizon. Like they
I
I
talk
haven't
about
read it yet.
I haven't finished.
I
I've
haven't
finished
finished it
it.
either. I'm like 15 chapters in.
I haven't even started it.
well,
I'm
he
reading
hasn't
that.
started yet.
Yeah, Luke.
Well, no. Well, they hint at it in Fallen Star. They're like the attack on Corellia.
No, I mean it's honestly like Chris said, that speech for me was very much so like, oh, we're straight up declaring war on all of the places everywhere in the core. So I mean Corellia, Coruscant, I feel like nothing's off the table at this point, and I think that
No.
is exactly what it's going to be, is that blanket statement. Attack on core worlds is going to be exactly what fuels kind of the turn from we're all the Republic to the Empire that
Well,
we eventually run into.
The other thing for me is, yes, Markion is gloating, and this just came to the thing of where it was just like the other time where I wanted someone to tell him to shut up, was because, okay, so many people from different parts of the galaxy came to help. So
Mhm.
this isn't really dividing the Republic. It's actually
uniting
bringing
them.
them closer together.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think we're going to hear that if we ever hear Chancellor So's address, it's going to be addressing that. And yeah, I think it's just like, okay, you're going to make them stronger though. And then, Senator Toom comes in and maybe he, runs for chancellor or whatever. And he's just like, you know what? Military.
But I feel like to point the chat to what Aiden said, he said judicial forces are around by the time of Phantom Menace. I mean, it's in that weird
Wait,
realm.
say that again?
Judicial forces are around by the time of Phantom Menace.
Judicial forces.
I was gonna ask that. Like, we don't like before the prequels, we didn't really get a militarized Republic fleet or a Republic defense fleet. Except for it does get mentioned in Tarkin, because Tarkin is part of that Republic defense fleet, I guess, during the prequel era. So this might be the beginning of that one part of militarization, but not the entire militarization that we see in the prequels.
Well, yeah, because they have the clones, but they did
Yes.
have officers in place
Yes.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying I completely agree with what Chris was saying. Was I think that this is going to be what's used as the jumping off point to get that set up. Like that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Is this singular threat after Starlight's fall?
So here's the other question then. Going into phase 2 and eventually phase 3, we have no knowledge of what's going on with the Sith. Nothing. Nada. Do we think that the Nihil are just a front?
I hope
And
not.
obviously
I don't think so personally. I think we're going to run into a little bit more questions being answered with Acolyte. At least I hope
Yes.
so.
Mm-hmm.
I
Rather than One theory that I had heard that might be interesting with the Acolyte is Avar falling and being kind of the catalyst to, like, Avar or Elzar falling and being the catalyst to the return of the Sith.
I feel like with the like
I don't know.
the story of the Sith, I feel like it's not gonna be a front thing. I think Markion knows they're out there somewhere. Like the Sith are definitely out there in the galaxy at the time, but he just doesn't care. And I think the Sith are like, oh, we're gonna kind of just stay back and just let the Nihil take them out, and then we'll rise in power.
If anything, I would see Marcion hating
Both.
the Sith as much as the Jedi.
Yeah. I hope we don't really get any mention of the Sith until the Acolyte, because
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
if it needs to be stated that there is good in the in the universe other than the Jedi, but there's also evil in the universe other than the Sith.
Yeah.
And I think that even if, like, the level, if Markion was going to become such a threat with these levelers, the Sith would step up to do something about it, even if it's just like, okay, we're just going to infiltrate the Nihil and then kill him, because the leveler attacks all Force sensitives, at least as it's described.
Yes.
So you
Well,
know,
the other thing could be Chris. Like, this is the only reason why I say this is because, like Hereth was saying, the Sith know that they're, well, both parties know that they're out there.
do they?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. But like here, like the scenario would be, hey, do what you want. We're not gonna get in your way, because we just want to learn and see the reaction.
I mean, but if there are only two, since
Yes.
Bane, who says that knowledge got passed on? We don't know when the levelers were more active at the time.
Not to mention, like, with the whole threat of the Drengir and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
The Sith already had fought them. So I would imagine that seeing the Drengir return in any capacity, if there had been knowledge passed down to, like, the surviving two Sith, that they would stay away from that, because, hey, we're only two. If it was something that, like, took an army of Sith to handle before, let's stay in hiding, let the righteous Jedi handle this,
And we'll
and
take out the
and just
remaining.
kind of stay in the shadows and stuff like that. So I think that we're not going to run into anything until
The Acolyte,
it starts to set up, Plagueis,
Yes.
Palpatine, and stuff like
Give
that.
me Plagueis as the Acolyte, please, for the
Well,
love of
the
God.
Acolyte we already know is
A female.
Amandla Stenberg,
Yeah,
is what?
yeah.
being played by Amandla Stenberg.
What if she ends up becoming Plagueis's, instead of Tenebris, they have the Acolyte find Plagueis?
I'm still convinced it may be Keeve Trennis, but that's just
I agree. That's a different discussion for a different time. But
Amandla looks like Keeve.
I would say on the speculation
that's
of
right.
the Sith, I feel like I have to mention this. So, shout out to Mentally Ilsa Fleur, who was on the podcast last week. Like, I've had a lot of discussions about where we think the Sith are all on this. My theory is the Sith are like inactive, like, oh, we're just gonna let everything happen the way we want it, and then Palpatine and Plagueis show up going like, you guys are idiots. Why are you just sitting back and letting all this happen? You should be the ones in control. I feel like their whole philosophy is, we're gonna let outside forces wipe out the Jedi, and we just take everything for granted and just make our own like palace. Until Plagueis and Palpatine come up and be like, well, if we do this, like, if we take like what the Nihil did, and we take what the Amaxians did in the past, and then we combine it with this is how we take out the Jedi.
Well, I know it's not canon, but the Plagueis novel does kind of hint to a lot of that, of Plagueis specifically being like, you know what, I'm done playing this whole fun we're in the shadows game.
Yes.
It's time for us to actually start putting stuff into motion, and I'm going to find somebody that actually has the
guts
drive
to do it.
also do that with me. Obviously, he found somebody that has more of a drive and more of not bloodlust, but more of honestly just less of a less chill than he did.
Mhm.
A
and-
massive hate boner for life.
That's the best way to describe Palpatine.
Thank you.
Good
But
job.
yeah, and so like while that novel's not canon, I think that they kind of have to be in the shadows through it all, or otherwise it would kind of undermine the whole
Nihil, yeah.
the appearance of Darth Maul and Tatooine,
Yes.
Mhm.
kind of catching everybody off guard.
Yeah, also you're just gonna have people be like, if the Sith show up, they're gonna be like, well, I want more of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true too. You're taking away from the threat that has. I mean, the Nihil as a threat as of recently has been pretty
Terrifying.
Well, even
pretty
at
terrifying.
the beginning, in Light of the Jedi, I remember sitting there before I even got started reading the book. I'm like, what kind of threat can they
Actually, be
pose against the Jedi that aren't Sith, that are just space marauders? I'm like, this is stupid.
Mhm.
Not stupid. That's a little bit more callous than my thing was. But I was going into it pretty jaded. Like, you guys are really gonna have to impress me with this. Thankfully, they did. But I was like, oh damn! And then they threw the Drengir in the mix as well, and I'm like, oh damn!
Mhm.
And so for me, it's like they don't need the Sith in this era to be present.
Correct.
They already have potent enough enemies,
Yeah.
like clearly, especially now. Like the Nihil already started out as a kind of a terrifying threat, but then as soon as Rising Storm happened and we get introduced to levelers, it's like, oh yeah, honestly, this is even more terrifying than the Sith, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
So
It is.
Because the Nihil are just pure chaos and mayhem. You don't know what they're gonna do, what they're gonna strike. With the Sith, they're more calculated and cunning.
No, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
But I feel like we're at a good point to kind of wrap up the discussion, because like we're kind of running out of steam with the conversation. So again, final question. I'm not gonna add any icebreakers in here, because I feel like that would just prolong it forever. Just simple at the beginning. Who are you? Where can we find your content? And since I went to Chris first last time, I'm gonna go to Cal. Flip the order.
I am Cal4 on pretty much every social media platform. I am resistant to the peer pressure to make TikToks at the moment, but I know that I eventually will be making more of an appearance there, especially
Yeah.
as more Twitch streams happen. Can kind of clip some of that, throw that on there.
Yeah.
But I also do have plenty of Star Wars thoughts that I do need to get out, and
Yes.
will likely be using that as an outlet at some point. But in the meantime, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Cal4 Thursdays through Sundays, typically in the evening. Usually it was 7, but now it's starting to drift towards 9 p.m. Central Time. But yeah, that's usually where I'm at.
And Chris.
I am Chris, aka Star Wars Lawyer, and you can find me on TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram at Star Wars Lawyer, and Twitter at Chris_SWL.
Hell yeah. And since Carter's not here, I'll shout out his stuff, Car2D2 at TikTok, and obviously here on YouTube. And now we'll go to our replacement co-host of the week, Luke.
This isn't the host you're looking for.
It's true.
So you can find me at the Pod Ones Podcast on TikTok, Pod Ones Podcast on Twitter, and Pod Ones Pod on Instagram. You can find me and my co-host Char J every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, talking about a arc or an episode of the Clone Wars. This week we've got the Zero the Hutt arc or episode. It's not an arc, it's just one episode. So if you guys want to tune in and listen to some Southern twang and how we don't think it should be in Star Wars and how Zero's just the worst person in the entire world, come join us there. We've got Cloud City Conversations and Sam Blakely slated for that episode. And yeah, we're also on Twitch. We'll start doing more game nights, and we might have a little announcement here in the next couple of weeks, maybe, about something that we've got planned. But yeah, that's.
Speaking of plans,
Mhm.
it's been way too long in the works, but I know that both Chris and myself have been wanting to do both Civilization gameplay, but also
Yes.
Pokemon stuff together as well on Twitch. So
Yes.
There you
be
go.
sure to check him out and myself when you get the chance. Stuff's slightly brewing.
Yeah.
More
Heck
of a simmer.
Absolutely.
For sure. And again, I feel like since it's a High Republic episode, I usually do the May the Force be with you, but I gotta do the For Life and For Life. We are all the Republic.
There are more of us.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Always.